Hello, Painful Mess here. I'm going to record using the crappy YouTube thing again. The sound will probably be bad, but I just can't care enough for this video. I probably shouldn't make this video, but it seems somewhat possible that this person is not a troll and is generally interested in my answer. Anyway, I'm making a double-purpose video. The first half will be me explaining some of the warning signs I look for to determine if someone is a troll or not. And all of my examples will come directly from joelarnda, who I was ignoring because he hit most of these red flags. And then the second half will be a response to what he wants me to respond to. So, again, I probably shouldn't make this video if I want trolls to go away. I'm just humoring them. First, I have an undergrad degree in math and philosophy. Right now, I'm 4 years into a math PhD, so I spend a lot of my days looking at undergraduate papers that are incredibly poorly written and they basically can't construct arguments properly yet. So I have a lot of practice with turning poorly written, poorly constructed arguments into actual arguments and giving people the benefit of the doubt. I'm not saying I'm some super genius, but if I can't figure out what you're trying to say, then most likely what you're saying is nonsense and I'll ignore you. Of course, I politely asked joelarnda to clarify, but did he? No, he just referred back to the nonsense that he had written. The point of bringing up the philosophy degree in this is that I'm quite familiar with the standard arguments there. So, saying something like the following, which I quote, "Many Socratic arguments lead to infinite regress," as if there was some standard philosophical notion he's referring to there, without any explanation of what is meant by it, is completely ridiculous. All that's happening is you are asserting something, which I honestly don't quite understand, we'll get to that later, and providing no explanation. This is a basic troll strategy. This brings me to my next point. If you really want me to take your comments seriously, please make it seem like you put the tiniest amount of effort into it. Basically, every sentence has misspelled words, and grammatically the sentences were a mess as well. I quote again, "Actually, everything you're granting from 1 to 230, by just claiming theism and not any particulars, you have just granted everything to theists. Therefore, since I have not advanced anything, you are left with having to fulfill the grants that you offered. I am only following the logic of the scenario you presented and what framed as the terms." Seriously, I had other people read this, and I wanted to know if they had any idea what it was trying to say, and of course they did not. Next, the next troll tactic is going around my actual channel page to pester me about the question, and finally going to an unrelated videos and pestering me. Again, I'm being polite by not blocking you, and this is one of the only instances that I consider a legitimate reason to block someone. I've never had to do this yet, but going to unrelated videos and posting comments about a previous one is not good YouTube etiquette. For the rest of this troll part of this video, just listen to this. Again, this is a quote. "The moment someone mentions a belief, then that disqualifies them from using it as a positive or negative because it is neutralized. Every word is neutralized. The same would go for scientific theory and logic. You end with nothing and can only start with nothing." There is absolutely no content that I can see in those sentences. From my perspective, this is a prime classic case of pseudo-philosophy. For some reason, there are people out there that think they can just string words together that, if you aren't paying close attention, actually sounds kind of deep, but upon closer investigation, it is just meaningless. I like to call this buzzword trolling. You try out some buzzwords, but clearly have no idea how to use them properly. Now, I'll turn to addressing whatever I can scrape up from these scattered, misspelled, grammatically incorrect sentences that don't even form the outline of some argument. Let's first be clear about what the challenge is. I'm asking for an argument. The easy form is one argument for how you know another religion is wrong, and you can pick whatever religion you want to do this. And the hard form of the challenge is to give one way that you know your religion is correct. I highly object to the use of the term Socratic to characterize this. Your main objection seems to be some mysterious Socratic infinite regress. This can't possibly apply because I'm merely asking for an argument, it's not some Socratic thing. I don't understand what you're referring to. So maybe I'll explain a little bit more detail that a logical statement has the form if blah, then blah. The way you form an argument for the truth of that statement is you suppose the hypotheses, or the if part, and then you derive from that the then part, or the conclusion. The whole point of the intro to that video was to tell you which hypotheses I'd accept as true for the purposes of your argument. Remember, you're giving an argument to answer the challenge. So here's what I think you might mean by Socratic infinite regress. You present an argument to me, then I point out some flaws in it, then you try to explain why there aren't flaws, and then I explain why there are, etc. Sure, this goes on indefinitely, I'll agree with you there, but that is not a reason to say that someone who asked you for justification has a problem from the start. That is the person who presents the flawed argument's fault. If you just answer my question, and it's a sound argument, then it ends there. There is no infinite regress. You win. You've answered the challenge. I don't see what you're referring to. So let's just do an example real fast. Let's say I believe magic fairies visit me while I sleep. You then ask, how do you know that? Should I reply that asking that question will lead to an infinite regress so I don't have to answer it? Because that's ridiculous. Yeah, it's the only thing I can think of that you mean, and since you didn't clarify when I asked, I have to go with this assumption. Next, you seem to think your point is illustrated by replacing the word religion with science everywhere. I have to say that if I literally do that, then I get something incredibly nonsensical. The challenge will make no sense phrased that way because it becomes the following. Name one way you can tell that God gave the truth of his existence to scientists. Do you really? The challenge is ludicrous when worded that way. So this is why the challenge is aimed at religions, because only religions are the ones making the claim that God gave the truth of his existence to them. Now, again, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and pretend that you had in mind a complete and utter rephrasing of the challenge that defeats the point of it, so that it's something more like the following. Name one way in which you can tell that science is giving true facts about the universe that doesn't apply to any religion. And let's face it, if this is really your challenge to me, then you have not watched my other videos in which I expound on this for probably 30 minutes worth of videos, at least. But since the challenge is to name one, I'll humor you. Here's one. Science makes precise predictions about the universe that turn out to be accurate. And maybe I'll do one more for fun. Science has made a concerted effort to remove bias from the process of determining what's true. Certainly there is no religion on the planet that can say either of these about their religion. So, thanks for watching. Now you know what I look for to consider you a troll, and if you do these things, I will probably ignore you, or make some video about trolls and answer you, but don't count on that. I'll probably just ignore you.